Coming up on today's show, some comments made by Dak Prescott on his contract, how things could be impacted by the money he's making this upcoming year. Stefon Diggs, rumors being suggested once again, no surprise there. Couple different head coach ideas, ESPN involved on this one as well. Before we get to that, if you like the Cowboys Report, first off, thank you. Secondly, please like today's video. Simple, it's free, it's easy, helps us grow, continue to have success here on the Cowboys Report. So if you haven't already, please do us a favor, like today's show. As part of that same interview where he backed Mike McCarthy, Dak was asked about his contract and stuff, and he said it's not going to be an issue in adding pieces the Cowboys want to. Here's what Dak said. I don't think my contract is going to withhold us from making any moves or doing anything we need to do in free agency. If that big chess piece or big piece comes up, that will require that or does require that. The way that my contract is structured and the way I believe in this team, I don't think that would be a problem at all to move things around to make that happen. Now, I want to be very clear, despite what some major national outlets might tell you and the Jones boys propaganda might tell you, Dak is 100% correct. Do not let the Jones boys propaganda fool you. Don't let someone tell you, as Jerry said, that Dak and Lamb take up 70%. No, that is not how the math works. It's not even remotely how the math works, especially given how high these contracts are climbing with the salary cap going to be well over $200 million, significantly over that. As of right now, Dak's contract is going to count just under $90 million. But here's the thing. It's not built to actually count that way. Once the Cowboys restructure that, and we'll get into that side of it in a minute here, that number drops down to $52 million. It's still a lot of money, but relative to how much the salary cap has grown, it's not actually that big of a percentage raise over what it's been in previous years. All of these contracts, these built-in restructures, as I call them, they're built into the contract. It's designed to be that way. It's the whole point of why you do the big signing bonus, the big base salary. You flip it and make the base salary lower to keep the cap in a good spot. It doesn't require anything special. The way the Cowboys built this deal, built the CeeDee Lamb deal, was to take that cap hit, get it down, easy. It is that simple. It is supposed to be this way. It is how they built the contract going in knowing we're going to do this in year 2. It's just a timing thing. The Cowboys very easily can have $100 million in salary cap space to spend as they so choose or close to it. They currently have, based on the over-the-cap projections, which does include rollover and stuff, about $23 million. You'll save, and I'll round down on some of these and even it out a little bit, $36 million by restructuring Dak Prescott, $20 million by restructuring CeeDee Lamb, $6 million by restructuring Trevon Diggs, $14 million if they want to cut Terrence Steele. If they want to restructure him and keep him, it's $9 million. That's post-June 1st, pay your draft class. Cut your safeties if you want, $8 million. If you want to be proactive and extend Micah Parsons early, that's $15 million. It's actually way beyond $100 million. Way beyond it. Don't let anybody tell you that any contract on this team, any multitude of contracts, frankly, is preventing Dallas from being aggressive in free agency. They can. It's a question of whether or not they want to choose to do so. Now, do you want the Cowboys to actually be aggressive for once and spend some damn money? If you do, type me, especially at the pinned comment if the ad comes here on YouTube. Now, Mike Fisher over at Athlon Sports throwing out the idea of, well, if Dak says the contract's not going to be an issue, maybe they can go pursue Stefon Diggs. Can't say I'm surprised that this one's back. I thought we all knew this was going to come back. Really almost not fair, but when Stefon Diggs got hurt, I know many people thought, oh, that might open the door for a Diggs reunion with his brother in Dallas. Diggs' stock is down, especially after injury. It's not as high as it was at his absolute best. And if you get him on a cheaper one-year deal coming off the injury, the Cowboys love paying hurt guys, by the way. You can win the deal, right? Look at the value the Cowboys got, something that they love to try to do when they're making moves in free agency. Diggs was on pace for a good, not elite season, was going to be right around 1,000 yards before his injury, which was still valuable in the NFL. I don't think he's the same 2022 version. it might raise some concerns that the Bills' offense got better last year and also looked better after this season when the Bills kind of moved on from Stefon Diggs. But it does give you at least a potential legitimate number 2 wide receiver. I think there are some concerns there. I do worry about Diggs being a little, not diva-y for lack of a better word, but being the enemy speaks softly and carries a knife meme of the wide receivers, right? But he's better than Brandon Cooks. How much difference in contract cost is Cooks versus Diggs going to go for this year? And is that something that could be considered? So would you sign Stefon Diggs? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Maybe we should have put a trigger warning on this one for some of you guys out there. ESPN listing and mentioning Kellen Moore as a possible head coach candidate, not just in the NFL, but specifically for the Dallas Cowboys. This is part of their ESPN Insider piece. So Dan Graziano writes the first part, and then Jeremy Fowler responds to it, so it's like a written conversation. Dan goes, let's say the Cowboys move on. Are you expecting Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to get a look there, or is that too obvious? Jeremy Fowler says Moore has helped himself while coaching the Eagles offense this season. I could see him getting a look in Dallas and other places. Okay, I think Kellen's done a fine job in Philly. There's plenty of talent there. It's his issue, I think, at times has been getting a proper ground game going, and Eagles had that mostly in place from a schematic standpoint, and then they plop Saquon Barkley in there, and good things tend to happen. The ties to Dallas, of course, are very obvious. An interview wouldn't be a surprise to me. In fact, actually does make some sense, if only to do the smart team thing, which Philadelphia once did to you with Kellen Moore, and interview him, even though you probably weren't going to hire him, just to get a feel for what that Eagles organization is being run on the inside like. That actually does offer some benefits, especially from a division rival standpoint. We'll talk more about Kellen and the Cowboys coaching search, but first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats. Don't waste time to do all these different ticket options. Just get the best bang for your buck. It's curation designed to save even more on sports, but also concerts, comedy, theater, everything else in between, especially if maybe you don't want to go to a Cowboys game, which they're playing better, but I very much get it. The Game Time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today. Create your account. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account. Redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, on this ESPN piece, I do want to mention a couple things that have got lost in translation at times there. Kellen was specifically mentioned for the Dallas Cowboys. That was, if you go back and read it closely, that was the only one that was mentioned for Dallas. And then they used Kellen to talk about other potential head coaches, and because it was right after the Cowboys sentence, that got grouped into one. Wasn't the intent of ESPN. So there were other young coaches mentioned, but that was more like Kellen's a young OC. Here are some other young offensive coordinators who are sleeper candidates. That then got tied to Dallas. It was Liam Cohen in Tampa, Drew Petting in Arizona. Names we've mentioned before on the show I do think are sleeper candidates. I don't know if Dallas would go down that path. I think they would rather have a former head coach, which I have issues with as just cutting off potential options for you. But these guys weren't actually specifically mentioned as sleeper candidates for Dallas. It was sleeper options for NFL at large. We got free Cowboys videos for you guys each and every single day. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Free videos. Don't miss out. Subscribe right now. Now, this one's interesting. Cowboys Wire mentioning, and my boy Katie Drummond, mentioning the Niners head coach, Kyle Shanahan, as a potential Mike McCarthy replacement. Now, this comes on the heels of, it is Mike Florio, so we're going to asterisk that one. He has led the charge that the Chicago Bears should go trade for Shanahan, even though I think that might be a terrible fit. I think Shanahan's preferred quarterback style, and the best out of Caleb Williams is a really bad fit together, but I digress. The Niners have had a good year. There's no way around it. They've had a bunch of injuries. They've struggled. The offense doesn't look as good this year. Shanahan, though, specifically for Dallas, I love that idea. 69-58 in his career. He's made it to 2 Super Bowls, 4 NFC title games, and he kind of owns you as of late. Now, the issue you run into here, you probably have to trade for him. I'd be surprised, frankly, if the Niners went, yep, we're just going to outright fire Kyle Shanahan. That would be super weird. And that part creates various issues of what's the cost? Does it make sense? Would Jerry ever do it? They'd been linked to the Sean Payton trade. Would they do it for Shanahan? Is that a good idea even? In general, whether it's Shanahan or somebody else you covet, that's realistic, which doesn't bring up very many options. Maybe Kevin Stefanski? Maybe? Would you trade for a head coach? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comments. A lot of it comes down to trade cost. I'll give my second. Can't draft for that spot anyway. I would wonder if the Niners want the John Gruden deal. Give us two first-round picks if you want to go down that route. It's all hypothetical anyway. I would be very surprised, and I think it would be pretty stupid of the 49ers to move on from Shanahan. Who's going to be their head coach? They don't really have a lot of options because that coaching tree's been pretty picked over. Going to rebuild without a guy that's had a lot of success and has had one down year in large part because of injuries? I just think it's a bad idea.